Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you joined us for the Life Sciences Investor Forum. The first presentation of the day is from ONWARD Medical. Please note you may submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides, and you can view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings by clicking Book a Meeting in the top toolbar. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Dave Marver. He's the Chief Executive Officer of ONWARD Medical, which trades in the OTCQX Best Market under the symbol ONWRY and on Euronext under the symbol ONWD. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be with all of you today. Nice to be first. Hopefully we'll get things started in a really productive and interesting way. All right, the requisite forward-looking statements slide, and then let's get rolling here. So ONWARD exists because it's truly an unmet need. There is no cure, nor are there really any effective therapies for spinal cord injury. Most people associate spinal cord injuries with paralysis or loss of sensation, but it comes with many other challenges: blood pressure instability, incontinence, frequent infections, things of that nature, things that really affect activities of daily life. So outside assistance is often needed, and the quality of life can frequently be quite poor. In the middle of the slide here, you see the prevalence and incidence figures. This impacts 9 million people worldwide, about 650,000 just in the US and Europe. And as you can imagine, it's an expensive condition. So the average lifetime cost to support somebody with tetraplegia, meaning they've broken their necks essentially and their arms and legs are paralyzed, exceeds $5 million. So definitely a worthy pursuit. Indeed, that's our vision. We want to do something about this. Our vision is that empowered by independence, people with spinal cord injury will enjoy life in the ways that matter to them. Some want to use their hands again. Others want to stand and walk again. Others want to go to the bathroom without having to insert a catheter each time. And fortunately, our therapies, our technologies have the potential to help in every one of these areas. This is an overview of ONWARD's technologies. We have 3 purpose-designed technologies, each of which stimulates the spinal cord. And they're all at different phases or stages. The first is called ARC-EX. This is an external stimulator. This is now commercially available in the US, Europe, and other geographies. We also have our own implanted platform, an implanted IPG or pulse generator and family of spinal cord leads. This is now starting pivotal or phase 3 trials around the world. And then we have our own brain-computer interface platform we call ARC-BCI. This enables thought-driven movement restoration, and this is currently in the clinical feasibility study stage. Just some overall highlights about the company. We're headquartered in the Netherlands. Most of us are in Switzerland, and we have a growing group of people in the United States, a field sales and service organization, a clinical trial organization. Very unique company, so highly differentiated technologies. We have 10 FDA Breakthrough Device Designation Awards. I think that's more than any company on earth. We have a very compelling body of clinical evidence, several publications in Nature Medicine, New England Journal of Medicine, so top-tier journals that help us understand our underlying mechanisms of action. We are leaders in brain-computer interface, or BCI technologies, again, enabling thought-driven movement restoration. We've announced thus far 5 humans implanted with our system, and we're exploiting our first-mover advantage. Already we have more than 150 patents issued worldwide, over 300 if you count country nationalizations. Our go-to-market pathway is also favorable. So we have the regulatory authorizations for our first platform already in the US, Europe, and other geographies. We have a large TAM into which we're introducing our first couple of products. There's already a high level of awareness among clinicians and people with spinal cord injury who can benefit from our therapies, so we won't have to spend as much money and resources on marketing. And we have a highly concentrated customer base. We're not trying to target 10 or 20,000 physician specialists in the US or around the world. There are about 500 clinics, specialized clinics, who have the expertise to treat people with spinal cord injury and advanced movement disabilities. This is where we're establishing our channel and our long-term relationships. From a company perspective, we have an experienced global management team and a very strong shareholder base. We have two strategic investors, one of them Ottobock, which is the world leader in prosthetic limbs, and the other is the Christopher Reeve Foundation, which is the world's largest patient advocacy group in SCI. This is their first ever investment in a for-profit company, so very pleased to have them on our cap table. Let's now go through our technology platforms in more detail. So this is ARC-EX. This is the first platform that's approved for commercial sale in the US, Europe, and elsewhere. We have our own external stimulator here, connects to leads that are placed on the skin near the area of the spinal cord that's responsible for a given movement or function. We're starting with hand function. That's controlled in the neck area. Here you see the large TAM, about $8 billion worldwide for this device. And the system is programmed by a clinician, a physical therapist, an occupational therapist, using this tablet programmer that you see here. ARC-EX was one of Time Magazine's best inventions of 2024, also a Fast Company world-changing idea. We conducted a pivotal study to get this device FDA approved and CE marked, and these were some of the outcomes. 90% of the participants improved strength or function. 87% reported improvement in quality of life. And interestingly, we saw response up to 34 years after an injury. Today, or prior to the introduction of this device, a person would have an injury, they'd have emergency surgery, they'd be in rehab for maybe 2 months or 3 months, and then they're sent home and told nothing else can be done. Here we've shown even 34 years after an injury, we can show really meaningful improvements. And these data were published in Nature Medicine, one of the world's preeminent science journals. We started with a limited launch in the US this calendar year, and then in the second half, we opened it up. We've already placed sold more than 70 systems to over 60 US clinics, and the momentum is continuing for sure. This is now an overview of our fully implanted system we call ARC-IM. So we have our own implanted neurostimulator. It's implanted in the abdomen or flank. That connects to one of a family of leads that's placed directly on the spinal cord. The system is recharged and programmed wirelessly through the skin using this hub. And then the clinician uses this tablet programmer, and the patient actually uses a smartwatch where they can turn the system on and off and control it. This is a very versatile system. We're first, though, using it to address blood pressure instability. And already, as with ARC-EX, we have major publications. We had concurrent publications in Nature and Nature Medicine in September, detailing the clinical feasibility results for the first 14 people to receive this therapy worldwide. And it had outstanding results, reducing the blood pressure instability in all 14, reducing fatigue, improving bowel management, increasing their tolerance of upright postures, improving quality of life, et cetera, et cetera. I'll just pause for a second. What are we talking about here? This is not garden variety hypertension or high blood pressure. Rather, after a spinal cord injury, and sometimes after Parkinson's as well, people have this blood pressure instability. It makes it difficult for them to sit upright, to stand, or to transition body position, let's say from a bed to chair in the morning. It can also become faint or lightheaded after meals. So it can be very debilitating, keeping people homebound or even bedbound. So definitely something that we want to help to address. And this is the third platform overview. This is our BCI, or brain-computer interface platform. And here we implant a recorder in the brain, the BCI, and then that records a person's movement intention, sends it wirelessly to this tablet, which interprets those signals and translates them using AI into instructions for our spinal cord stimulator, which then stimulates the spinal cord to enable thought-driven movement restoration. It's truly a digital bridge. Okay, the company as well, just because of our mission and the unique technology, and we really are pioneering some very impactful things, we've been able to attract some of the best and brightest in the industry. You see at left are two co-founders who were featured in that 60 Minutes piece, Professor Courtine and Dr. Block, the management team as well, very experienced med tech leaders with global experience. And then we've also really put together an impressive board of directors. Our board chair is the former president of Medtronic International and longtime chairman of MedTech Europe, the industry association. We recruited recently Dr. Tim Dennison, who was for a long time Medtronic's preeminent neuroscience engineer and now is on faculty at Oxford University. Lucas Buchanan comes to us from Silk Road Medical, where he was CFO. He's now on the board of several high-growth medtech companies in the United States. And Vivian Riefberg was the former McKinsey government and healthcare practice chair in the United States. So they're just, this is just an example of the caliber of people who've joined us in this important cause. We also work hard and we execute. So this slide shows you the many achievements that we can point to over the last 12 months. You can see them here. We received FDA authorization for the ARC-EX system in the United States. We recorded our first commercial sale. We met all of our sales objectives year to date. We received CE mark so we can commercialize in Europe. And we got 510(k) clearance from FDA for home use, which is really where the ARC-EX system scales. Each person who can benefit from it can not only use it in the clinic, but be prescribed use of the device at home. We also advanced the pipeline. So we received IDE approval from FDA to start the Empower BP pivotal study. We published the interim feasibility or the feasibility results in Nature and Nature Medicine. I reviewed those with you earlier. We secured exclusive rights to our BCI technology from a leading site in France. We also received several grants, and that's something that is rather unique to our company. We can advance our pipeline with non-dilutive funding. We have grants from the Michael J. Fox Foundation, the U.S. Department of Defense, the Christopher Reeve Foundation, the European Innovation Council, et cetera. We continue to broaden our lead portfolio. We implanted the first human with our lumbar lead, which is an important lead placement for standing and walking. From a corporate perspective, we've raised over 100 million euros in equity over the past 12 to 15 months. I think that's around $125,000. We've secured 2 strategic investments from Ottobock. Ottobock is, I'll spend some time here. They're our number one investor. This is the company that's the global leader in advanced prosthetic limbs. They've been in existence for over 100 years. They have 9,000 employees. They operate in over 50 countries. So a lot of expertise, same ethos, and a lot of history in the space. We did establish the ADR program as well last year so that those of you who wish can transact or trade share equivalents in US dollars. And we continue to strengthen our board as well. In terms of milestones, we put this up at the beginning of the year. You can see we've knocked out nearly all of them. There are a few milestones remaining. So some upcoming news flows that could be catalysts for the stock. First commercial sale of the ARC-EX system outside the US. First participant enrollment in the Empower BP pivotal study. First in human use of the ARC-IM device to address urinary incontinence, so underactive bladder after SCI, and then additional brain-computer interface implants. So all of those could happen in December, January, February, upcoming catalysts for those of you who may have interest. So that's the end of the prepared presentation. I'm very happy to answer questions. I see several of them have arisen. Let me see if I can scroll through here. One question is, how many ARC-EX systems have been sold and deployed globally? So heretofore, we've announced that we've sold 70 systems to over 60 clinics. That was at the end of the third quarter, or at least when we did our third quarter update. Fourth quarter is going very well, meeting our expectations. So we look forward to announcing Q4 and full year results early next year. But we can guide that the commercial traction continues to meet expectations and be very strong. And I didn't have that slide in this particular deck, but we have received thousands of inbound indications of interest, unsolicited, from individuals with SCI, family members, as well as rehabilitation clinics, all wanting to learn more about or to trial the device. As a result of the fact that there's so much demand, our field organization is actually comprised solely of physical therapists and occupational therapists. So it's very much of a consultative sale for us, really putting the patients at the center, which is a nice segue into the next question is, how will you go to market? And indeed, because we have a limited number of these specialized rehabilitation clinics who care for people with spinal cord injury and stroke patients and others with movement disabilities, we can go to market ourselves. So we've already put together a US sales organization, has 12 people today, likely to grow next year. And then in Europe, we're also putting together a field organization. In Europe, we'll have more of a hybrid approach. Certain countries will be direct, others will be indirect through distributors. Moving on here. Reimbursement pathway for ARC-EX in the US and Europe. Very good and well-informed question. I'm going to focus more on the US because it's simple and more straightforward. So this is the ARC-EX device, by the way. I'm holding it here. We are intentionally not pursuing Medicare coverage initially because we don't want to be crosswalked to a legacy device that doesn't have anywhere near this device's capabilities. This is really a pioneering device. We went through a de novo pathway to get approval. There is no predicate for it. There's never been a device FDA approved shown to improve strength and sensation like this after spinal cord injury. So we're going to, again, intentionally not pursue CMS coverage for a couple of years so that we can amass real world invoicing and usage history. In the meantime, we are confident we can grow the top line impressively because we can sell into the VA, the military hospital system, without a Medicare code. Also, anyone covered by workers' comp can get this paid for. We expect healthy self-pay demand for this, and we intend to support private insurance on a case-by-case basis until they make policy decisions. So the way I would describe this is growing in the next couple of years, maybe 3 years, with US VA, US workers' comp, US self-pay, some private pay, also OUS sales into clinics as well, and some OUS home use sales. And then we expect Medicare approval, and that's where we'll really surge. Around that time, by the way, we also expect approval of the ARC-IM device. So we'll begin to layer in revenue, and that's where our growth will come from. All right, let's see. What are the key, let's say more about the Empower BP trial, key endpoints, enrollment, timing? Again, another well-informed question. So with Empower BP, we're looking at whether the ARC-IM system can address blood pressure instability in people with chronic spinal cord injury. So this is a randomized controlled trial with a sham and a crossover. So 2/3 of the participants will be randomized to stim-on, 1/3 to sham, and then there'll be a crossover, and so everyone will eventually be on the therapy. There'll be an efficacy measure at a certain time, and then a safety measure as well. What's interesting is that because of breakthrough, we have a lot of interaction with FDA, and we've built in an interim analysis. So after 33 patients, when we have efficacy data, we can unblind the data and potentially end the study early. If not, okay, fine, we'll continue to enroll. We can enroll up to 112 patients at up to 22 sites worldwide. In terms of outcomes measures, there's one objective measure, which is seated blood pressure, and there's one subjective measure, which is patient-reported outcomes, so the severity and frequency of blood pressure instability events. So that's Empower BP. We hope to, again, get to that interim analysis point by late next summer. We hope to fully enroll by maybe late next year or maybe a bit into 2027. And the target here is that we get this ARC-IM device approved and on the market sometime in 2028 in the US. Okay, are we fully funded for 2026 milestones? Yes, indeed. We completed a financing recently, a follow-on financing of 50 million euros or $60 million. This was closed in late October. Very good round. It was anchored by 3 investors, Autobach being one, our strategic investor. Also Invis, which is a very well known and respected life science investor that operates globally, and ASR, which is a leading insurance company based in Amsterdam or in the Netherlands in any case. So we had a strategic, a specialist, and a generalist as anchors. And then we raised the additional funds from a number of other long-only and very good investors who are on board, also mission-driven investors as well. And we've indicated that we have runway into 2027. Okay, next question. Timing for revenue ramp. Yeah, so we haven't guided on revenue, just checking time. Oh, we're almost out of time. We haven't guided on revenue, but the consensus is that we'll do in year one, let's say $6.5 million US in revenue. And then next year in the mid-teens, which is absolutely right down the middle. If you look at other successful high growth med tech companies over the last decade or so. So we're definitely on the right path, and we're highly focused on execution. So with that, thanks for all the excellent and well-informed questions. Thanks for your interest. If you want to learn more, you can send an email to investors@onward.com. That's ONWD.com, or follow us on social media. All of our handles are Onward Empowered, ONWD Empowered, all one word. Thank you very much. John and Janelle, back to you.